Hey everybody, welcome back to our permaculture series. This week we're stepping into Zone 1. Now remember, our zones are set up into areas where things are grouped together depending on how often we access them and how much resources they take from us. So in Zone 1 we're going to find things like our garden, because we're going into it every day either to harvest or tend to it in some way. Plus it can take a lot of resources. We might be putting a lot of water into it or different animal fertilizers. Whatever the case is, we're having to tend to it on a daily basis. We also might find things like small animals, maybe chickens, in order to collect their eggs and feed them on a daily basis. We might have things like our rabbits, because we have to tend to them and feed to them on a daily basis. Or our ducks, because we do the same for them. But in a way, we also have one of our goats on this list, because we milk her every single day. So you can kind of see where there's a little bit of a gray line here between the lines, if you will, because even though we only see her just a little bit for maybe 5 minutes in order to milk her, she's still something that gets our attention every single day. Now Zone 1, as you remember back when we first introduced zones, if you were to think about this in a dartboard or bullseye kind of setup, Zone 1 is directly outside of the home. Now that makes sense if you're able to set up your property that way, since the most activity is inside the home, then the next most activity should be right outside of it. That way you don't have to interrupt other zones to get from one to the other. But that said, it's not going to be possible in every single situation to set things up like that. So your Zone 1 might be right outside your front or back door, but it also might be back in a different corner of your property, where that's the only good place for you to have a garden. The good thing is that it doesn't really matter. The only thing you need to remember to do Zone 1 properly is to group together the things that you're going to access on a daily basis that take up the same or similar amount of resources. So if you have chickens, but you're not trying to collect eggs on a daily basis, maybe because you're raising them as meat chickens, then they might belong in a different zone. Maybe you have goats, but you don't milk them, then they too would be in a different zone. So whatever it is, just remember to group them together so that you only have to access that one area, rather than go to your garden in one place and then all the way on the other side of your property for collecting eggs for your chicken. So I hope you guys have learned something from this. Please remember to check back next week when we'll step into Zone 2.